It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Brandani. Carolina is a postdoc uh, research associate here at New Mexico State University, working with us at the Clayton Livestock Research Center. And currently, her research focuses on evaluating soil attributes and vegetation composition in rangelands of the western U.S., comparing environmental footprint of different cattle breeds. And prior to joining NMSU, Carolina worked at the University of Florida as a postdoc in long-term research as a LTAR network evaluating fire, agro ecosystems, and fire frequency and associated use of chopping on production and environmental responses in pine, flatwood rangelands relative to unburnt areas. And then she has extensive experience with different soil plant systems, and we're excited that Carolina adds this aspect to our research program at the Clayton Livestock Research Center. Carolina.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Duff, for the gentle introduction. I'm very glad for this invitation. And today I'm going to talk about the overview of soil health in New Mexico rangelands. Next slide, Sky, please. The concept of soil quality was developed in response to public demand for an increased emphasis on sustainability and to a recognition by the scientific community that soil management could be improved using a more holistic and integrative approach to soils. In 1997, Soil Society of America published the definition of soil quality or soil health, that is defined as the capacity of a specific kind of soil function within natural or managed ecosystem boundaries to sustain plant and animal productivity and or maintain or enhance water and air quality and support human health and habitation. Similar concerns developed the definition, the concept of rangeland health, that was defined as the degree to which the integrity of the soil and the ecological process of rangeland ecosystems are sustained. The rangeland monitoring and assessment systems have been traditionally focused heavily on plant community composition and productivity. But in the last 2 decades, interests in rangeland health and a growing recognition of the importance of soil vegetation feedbacks in structuring rangelands have led to a renewed interest in integrating soil information into rangeland monitoring and management. Next slide, please. Soil health integrates physical, chemical, and biological variables and has as a key driver the soil carbon that is linked to almost all measures of soil quality. Then special attention has been given to the biological variables since they have more faster and responses to changes, to shifts in the plant soil systems. Next, Sky. Also, soil health is absolutely, totally connected to profit, because when you have healthy soils, it can produce more forage, and consequently you can run more cattle and you can increase your revenue. In addition, managed practice to improve soil health influences several ecosystem services, including regulation of water flows, changes in soil biodiversity, and greenhouse gas emissions. Next, Sky. there are 4 broadly accepted principles used to sustainably maintain or improve soil health that are listed in this table. That is, increase plant diversity, reduce soil disturbance, extend period of active plant growth, and maintain soil cover, which all have corresponding rangeland assessment indicators. However, rangeland health protocols are not a comprehensive tool, and there are many other aspects related to soil health, such as spatial dynamic of nutrients availability and soil organic matter availability and microbiological activity that we cannot fully address with rangeland health approach, just with this kind of approach, but that could potentially be incorporated as an additional indicator. Therefore, this should be seen as a starting point of an iterative process that will ultimately depend on management and also the research objectives. Derner and co-authors recently published a manuscript, and they stated that the current soil health renaissance provides an opportunity to investigate connections of rangeland health indicators to soil health and to expand use of soil health indicators on pastures. Next, Sky. These soil health principles were developed primarily for agricultural systems with all roots in cropland management, but yet they are relevant to most of soils and also apply to rangelands. However, there are concerns regarding the application of these 4 soil health principles to rangeland ecology and management amongst research professionals and managers of public or private rangelands, which has challenged grazing lands professionals to assess the applicability of these principles to their natural resource concerns and has demanded some adjustments to the rangeland soil plant system. Next, Sky. Just to give you an idea, nowadays, several institutes are working specifically with soil health evaluation. For example, Cornell University, since 2003, the soil health team has been developing the comprehensive assessment of soil health manual. And the 3rd edition presents a framework for soil health management, planning and implementation based on information gained from soil health assessment that can be adapted for use in other land management systems, soils and climates. In this table, you can see soil indicators and the correlated soil process used to provide to the consumer, the farmers, growers, the status of their soils. And these kind of variables, soil variables, are very consolidated by the scientific community, and also it's very accessible in different commercial labs. What could be a good chances for farmers, ranchers to get a kind of checkup of your soils. Next, Sky. Soil health management in semi-arid region is also a great challenge. In the hot, dry environment, low inherent fertility soils, with the majority of our soils has a very low organic matter content, most of them with less than 2%. and the low annual total precipitation. All these factors limit plant biomass production and nutrient cycling. Next, please. In this context, our project, the Sustainable Southwestern Beef Project team, has planning to conduct two kinds of studies focused in evaluating the concerns regarding soil health in our desert rangelands. The first is related to the ecosystem integrity around watering points, usually called as biospheres. And the second study is about the use of manure application on New Mexico rangeland. Next, Sky. Just to illustrate, biosphere is describe herbivore utilization gradients around watering points, as commonly found in our grass-dominated ecosystems. In arid and in semi-arid rangelands, livestock utilization gradients around these watering points are commonly used to investigate the ecological effects of grazing on the biotic and also abiotic environment. So these called biospheres are ideal model systems to understand the interplay between grazing, vegetation, and the abiotic environment, and can be used to guide range management with respect to landscape functionality and also rangeland productivity. That is so important for our ranchers. A biosphere can be understood as a spatially concentrated form of land degradation, and it derives from a radial symmetry of ecological impacts around these watering points. And in our project, using this concept, are aiming to evaluate, to describe plant species composition along grazing gradients from watering points, and also to access the relationship between the plant species, soil redistribution, which means soil erosion, soil health variables, and the distance from watering points. Next, Sky, please. The second study is related to the use of manure application on New Mexico rangeland. Recently, Dr. Spiegel and co-authors published the manuscript Manure Sheds, Advancing Nutrient Recycling in U.S. Agriculture, which had the objective of developing but also disseminating the concept of manure sheds. And beyond this project, this kind of sub-project, they highlight the great potential for reusing manure as nutrient source. Next. To bring for this concept for our region, our place, we can see that in New Mexico, the manure disposal is a great challenge for the fast growing dairy and also beef industry. And interest in land application of organic amendments, such as biosolids, composts, industry, is growing due to their potential to increase soil carbon and help mitigate climate change. And as well to support like soil health variables and regenerative agriculture. While organic amendments are predominantly applied to croplands, their application is increasingly proposed on relatively arid rangelands that do not typically receive fertilizers or other inputs, creating unique opportunities like or for outcomes, such as soil properties, native plant diversity, and water quality. The application of beef manure to rangelands could serve a dual purpose. The first one could be the manure disposal from feedlots. And the second one is about soil amendment to improve soil characteristics and promote forage production in our arid sites. Next, Kai. In this last slide, I would like to show you our, for a while it's just a plan, but it's one of our objectives in our Sustainable Southwestern Beef Project, that is thinking about the use of manure to maximize environment benefits and minimize the potential harms. Our project has been intending to understand how soil and plant communities respond to beef manure amendment in rangelands. For this purpose, we are planning to set up a long-term experiment in the native pastures at the Clayton Livestock Research Center. And the potential studies would be manure application to foster soil nutrient cycling on arid lands, the influence of manure application on litter, but considering the above ground biomass on the decomposition, the dynamic of soil organic matter on rangeland as response of the manure application. In this topic, we could evaluate fast fractions that show fast change, and you can adapt our management. This is a kind of great study because you can create recommendations from this kind of management. And the last one is about the effect of manure application on the dynamic of nutrients in root system. Since we frequently just see what we have above ground, but it's so important to know what we have below ground. And root system, it's so important for soils conservation, since we can keep nutrient cycling and also keep soil organic matter that it's related to many other soil variables strictly related to soil sustainability. This is all I have for today, and thanks for your attention. And I would be very happy to discuss more about this topic in our breakout section. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.